My fiance went behind my back to cancel all the vegan wedding food, calling it not real food. So I gave him back the ring and canceled our entire future, plus an update. My fiance, who is 31, and I, a 25-year-old female, are supposed to be getting married soon. We agreed on almost everything for the wedding planning, except for the food. My family and I are vegan for several reasons, including a history of health issues. My fiancé and his family are the complete opposite. They're hardcore meat eaters, which is fine by me. However, when we were deciding on the wedding menu, I wanted to include 4 or 5 vegan options. My fiancé and his mom immediately objected. They said it was a waste of money on food that isn't real food. They also claimed it would be offensive to their guests and suggested my vegan options should just be salads and appetizers. His mom even suggested just cupcakes, which is laughable. I said no, for 2 reasons. First, my family and I are the ones paying for it. And second, I want my guests to feel welcome, not treated like second-class citizens by only being served salad. My fiancé made a face and asked, "Isn't that what vegans eat?" I refused to argue and told him my decision was final. Then, the other day, I found out he went behind my back and canceled all the vegan options from the menu completely. I was seething. I tried calling him at work, but he kept hanging up. So, I went straight to his office to confront him and completely flipped out. He was stunned. At first, he blamed his mom, then told me to go home because I was making a scene. The fight continued at home. He defended himself by saying I forced him to do it because I kept brushing off his thoughts and refusing to accommodate his family. But I don't understand. There were plenty of meat options, so why couldn't I have 4 or 5 vegan options, especially when I was the one paying for it? He just yelled that it was his wedding too, not just my family's. My family told me to let it go, saying they would figure something out, but I refused. So am I the asshole for putting my foot down on this? Update. Shortly after, his mom sent me a message. She tried calling first, but I ignored her. She sent these long walls of text, scolding me for what I did at her son's workplace. She called my behavior everything from immature to unhinged. She then went on to explain how she noticed that my family and I had been acting dismissive of her son's opinions and contributions to the wedding. She denied being involved in canceling the vegan options, but then immediately said she supported her son's decision. In fact, she thought it was so responsible of him to do it because I kept refusing to see how it was a waste of money. She also criticized me for saying I paid for it. She claimed that since we were getting married, it was our money, not my money, and that I needed to wisen up. She ended by saying how bad this was making me look and suggested I just agree to their compromise and be done with it. This pissed me off beyond belief. I wrote back and told her that I was standing my ground, even if it meant I had to call the whole wedding off. Because honestly, this is just ridiculous. My mom and dad don't even know what to say anymore. Apparently, my fiancé was with his mom and saw my response. He started trying to call me, but I'm just waiting for him to get home so we can see if he's still sticking to his decision. Update. Well, the talk didn't go well. I waited for him to come home so we could have a final conversation, but he still refused to change his mind. For a little more context, his family is on the heavier side. There's nothing wrong with that, of course, but they get very easily offended anytime the words "wait" or "food" are mentioned. He claimed he had tried to reason with me about why his guests might see the vegan options as offensive. He said his family loves food and considers it a big deal, and he didn't want them to feel like there were options they couldn't touch or that I was treating my family differently than his. Then he said it's just one event and my family should just accept what's on the menu. He actually said they're not going to die if they just have salad and appetizers. Realizing that my own partner thought it was okay to steamroll my decisions just to prioritize his family's feelings over mine was incredibly upsetting. It wasn't something I could just look past. Normally, I'm all about compromises. I would have compromised on much bigger things than food. But like people said, this was never really about the food. He had literally nothing to lose by letting me have what I wanted, but he was willing to lose our entire relationship over this. And fine by me. I gave him back the ring and called the whole thing off. I couldn't imagine living like this any longer, having to walk on eggshells around his family and letting him override my opinions on everything. Marriage is about compromise, and in this situation, he had nothing to lose, yet he chose to do this to me and my family. The last thing he said to me was that I chose my family over him just to keep them happy. But the decision has been made, and it's over. To be honest, I hate his family. They always made me feel like an outsider. They claimed I was secretly fat-phobic, but in reality, they mocked me and my family for being underweight because of our health issues. I realized I had noticed a pattern of this behavior before, but I kept making excuses for it, which was a huge mistake. It's been utter torture trying to please him and his family. I'm an emotional mess, but a small part of me knows I've survived the worst of it. I'm so thankful this happened now, because it helped me see things so much more clearly.